Hi everyone! Today I'm going to talk about finding your emotional home. How to find your emotional home. Now, I don't know if you have heard of Tony Robbins or Joe Dispenza. They're very popular names in the personal development world. Both of them talk about finding your emotional home. They say that when you're not feeling good, you have an emotional home that you go to. You have these emotions, these set of emotions, these set of thoughts that you go to. My emotional home is self-judgment, like crazy self-judgment. I am not good enough, I'm not worthy, I'm never going to achieve this, nobody's going to want to buy my products, or nobody was, like all kinds of things about self-judgment and self-criticism. That's my emotional home. I go to it so quickly, I have to work on getting myself out of it frequently. Tony Robbins talks about identifying your emotional home so that you can take the next step in your life, so that you know where to go. Joe Dispenza talks about it as well. I don't think he calls it emotional home. I don't remember what he calls it, but he has a similar concept. He says, an example that he gives is your body is used to certain emotions. It craves that certain emotions at certain times. So let's say every morning you're used to being in traffic and being annoyed and frustrated in traffic. Even if you're not traveling that day, even if you're not in traffic that day, your body will be like, oh, it's time for me to be upset. It's time for me to be angry or annoyed. And so your brain comes up with reasons to be annoyed. Like your body comes up with reasons because it stores that. So anyway, so both of them talk about emotional home and identifying it. One of the biggest struggles I had for a while was to identify it. I had a general idea of what it was. This was a breakthrough, and I want to share this breakthrough with you so that hopefully you'd be able to identify it. And why is it important? The reason it is important to identify your emotional home is because you cannot go where you want to go unless you know where you're at. It's the GPS thing. You must have heard this a million times. If you don't put on the GPS where you are, it will not be able to give you directions on how to get to where you want to go. That is why you want to know where you are, so that you can address the problem. Once you know what the problem is, you can address the problem directly and you can solve it and you can get to where you want to go. It sounds obvious, right? Okay, how to identify your emotional home. The thing that has worked most effectively for me is to be in what I call a meditation state, in which I'm not stopping my thoughts. I am allowing my thoughts to flow through very easily and very smoothly. What I'm doing is I'm sitting down and I'm just observing my thoughts. When I observe my thoughts, I am in a higher state of being. I am distancing myself from the actual thought. I'm saying, oh, I am observing this thought. It is also meditating. In this case, I am not trying to be in a thoughtless state, because in a typical meditation, I'm trying to be in a thoughtless state. Here, I'm not trying to be in a thoughtless state. I'm trying to observe. If I sit down for 30 minutes, 1 hour, however long, 20 minutes, however long you want, if you sit down with it, and every time you have a thought, write the category of it. Categorize those thoughts and keep a paper and pen in handy, because this is not about a thoughtless meditation state. This is about just observing. So just write down thought, maybe just a word or two so you remember it, and then the category of the thought. For me, a lot of them turn out to be self-judgment and self-criticism and unworthiness. For you, it might be something else. It might be anger. It might be judging other people. It might be blaming. It might be like all kinds of things. So write that down. Write down those categories of thoughts that you have within a 30-minute period. Repeat this 3 times. You can do it for 20 minutes, whatever. Set a time and do it a few times, not just once, but do it maybe 3 times. And then you can see in that piece of paper where your emotional home is. That's when you can start to shift things around, because now you know where your emotional home is. now you know that you've categorized it. And then once you've done this, you might get into this. And what I love doing, I love this, is I categorize all my thoughts all day long as often as I can remember. And I'll think a thought and I'll be like, oh, this is a judgy thought. Where did that come from? Like, oh, this is a self-critical thought. And I will just, so I will not even write them down in that case, because I kind of know what my emotional home is now. I will just observe it. And by the way of observing it all day long, I am in a higher state because I'm observing my thoughts. I am not being swept away by my thoughts. I'm observing them. If you can get to that state where you're observing them and not being critical of your thoughts, not being critical of how you're feeling, even during that 30 minutes, like if you have a judgment thought about the thought that you're having, like I should not be angry and I'm feeling very angry, or I should not blame this person and I'm blaming this person, I should take responsibility. If you have those thoughts, then write them down as well as judgy, right? Like self-judgy or other judgy or other person judgy, whatever, like however you want to name it, write them down as the judgy thoughts as well. And the point of this thing is to just observe. It is not to beat yourself up further for having those thoughts. No, we all have those thoughts. Every single human being, I can guarantee it. Every single human being, unless you have arrived at the state of like Buddha or probably, and maybe there are people who don't, but for the most part, most people have them, and that's okay. Once you accept that about yourself, this is my emotional home, then you can start to shift it and turn it around. I will talk about how to turn it around in one of my later videos. Stay tuned, and I hope this helps. I very highly encourage you to do this exercise if you're not very clear about your emotional home already, because this is one of the fundamental things to get you to the next step. Once you know where you're at, once you know where what your pitfalls are, then you can start to address them. Then you can start to use the right tools to get past them. Then you know what problem to solve, and you're attacking the problem like head on. And I'm calling it problem, but you know what you're trying to solve, you know. Yeah. Okay, I hope this helped, and wish you a wonderful day, and I'll see you tomorrow. And don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. And when you subscribe to the YouTube video, don't forget to click the bell icon, because that's how you get notifications when I post more videos. Talk to you next time. Bye.